welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube. So, I'm going to be doing two versions of this. This is a currently listening to episode, as usual, which is pretty much me talking about albums I've been listening to recently. The reason I mean two, because this is the CD edition, and the next one's going to be all vinyl. So, definitely pretty cool. So, let's definitely go right in and see what albums I've been listening to. Here we go. Victim by the Neck. I fucking love this album. What else can be said? This is a unreleased album that was officially released in 2014, but it was recorded in 1984. This is, of course, the same band that did the Power Hungry album and DMN, which would mean for Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. But this was pretty much was supposed to have been the follow-up album to Power Hungry, and this is a killer album if you ask me. Very Judas Priest sounding also, with all its Judas Priest obsession. It's all because it does have a bit of a US power metal sort of sound to it in a way, but it does. But also there's definitely some Motley Crue in here. Like think of like Shot at the Devil, but mixed with like Judas Priest's Defenders of the Faith, or even like Scream for Vengeance. Just real has that sound to it, because it does have a bit of a sort of that sleaziness to it, but it's just a killer album. Really, even for unreleased sound, it sounds pretty good. It's still raw, but everything has a good bite. Like the guitar tone on here is vicious sounding. Really good stuff. Tracks on here such as Surrender, Edge of the Razor, By the Neck. Even the version of Power Hungry on here is insane. Of course, you got tracks Underground and She's a Savage, which is also off the Power Hungry album. Again, got some re-recorded versions of here that was, again, but all these versions that would also even appear on like a DMN and some of these being, re-recorded versions of the tracks off the Power Hungry album, all sound awesome on here. I think this is pretty much, if this was released back in 1984, this would have been would be looked as a underground gem, a classic. This is just a great album. Moving on. This is recently something I just purchased. This is, of course, Bad Company Live, 1977 and 1979. This is all were originally unreleased shows. Of course, disc one being recorded during the underrated Burning Sky album. And it's actually one of the best show. If you ask me, between these two, this is the best one because it rarely has a whole lot of hits. It's pretty much about 7 or 8 tracks off the Burning Sky album. And some of the songs, such as Burning Sky, Too Bad, Leaving You, all sound great live. Really a good disc. And it's a little raw, so it does have a bit of that, that real good live feeling. This, of course, was released through Rhino, part of the reissue series. But, of course, Disc 2 is live at the Empire Pool, Wembley, London, England, March 9th, 1979. Is recorded, of course, during the Desolate Angels tour. Definitely not bad. It's definitely got some good tracks on here. Definitely, because it's an album I haven't really heard a whole lot. But I really haven't heard the whole album anyway. But, I mean, the album Desolate Angels, but here, pretty good. It's live though. But for me, the Burning Sky tour disc, the Live at the Summit, Houston, Texas, USA, May 23rd, 1973. It's like the best show on here. It really is. I'll open this up for a bit because it's pretty cool packaging. It's a digipack, but I'll open this up and show you. Was released pretty much last month, so it's definitely a new reissue. It's definitely replicating the Swan Song label. Of course, Paul Rogers. This is definitely taken from the Houston show. That cowboy hat. Really good disc, if you ask me. I just think Burning Sky is such an underrated album, and it's also the most bluesiest, if you ask me. Just real. That's all. I'm not gonna visit that. Alright, so we go from metal to classic rock. Now let's go back to metal, and this is the album that's playing in the background. This, of course, is Death Row's Satan's Gift, which, of course, was, I'm not sure if there's any LP copies of this album with the Satan's Gift title and album card, but mostly everyone remembers it as Riders of Doom. Everyone remembers it as Riders of Doom, which is, of course, is their debut album, released in 1986. Definitely some pretty good Teutonic German thrash metal. Of course, tracks such as Satan's Gift, Riders of Doom, Spider Attack, Slaughtered, Violent Omen, Dark Tales, Samhain. It's melodic, though. To me, this is kind of like if you decide to mix the Creator's Endless Pain with a little bit of Pleasure to Kill, but kind of mixed with that sort of kind of melodic stuff of like Destruction, something like that, but just all mixed into one. Just a real good album. I still haven't heard the other album, and I still am looking for a physical copy of that, because I know physical copies of some of the that second Death Row album is now pretty rare. And then, of course, you got the other two albums. I know Dive Bomb did a reissue of Deception Ignored. But here we go. Here's the back, which of course is a shot taken from the inlay or something, like the kind of the sheet side of the LP is that collage. So, definitely some good, real good thrash metal. Now it's time to go to a much more lighter side of metal, which of course is Dakin under Lock and Key. I obviously played this after watching one of Scott Waters' videos. Someone had sent him a t-shirt of this artwork, and I just felt inspired to play the album again. And also, another reason is I was thinking German metal, and just thinking about producer Michael Wagner, who produced Accept's Balls to the Wall, and I think of Dakin's Under Lock and Key, which is also produced by Michael Wagner. Definitely much more melodic Dakin album than really, Tooth and Nail and Breaking the Chains, and even maybe some parts of Back for the Attack. But there's definitely some good tracks in here. Unchain the Night, Lightning Strikes Again, Till We Live and End. Of course, these are pretty much the three real great tracks off the album, because they're just old school heavy metal. Then we got that. To me, it's definitely got a bit of that sort of Scorpions type of kick to it. They're even like, except I guess in terms of riffage, still pretty good. There's still some other great tracks in there. Of course, It's Not Love, The Hunter, even parts of In My Dreams. Not too bad. It's just a more melodic album. Now it's time to get back to the more kind of aggressive style of metal, which is, of course, is Exciter, Heavy Metal Maniac. What else? Their debut, just classic speed metal that's definitely seen as precursors to thrash, even though it was released in the same year as Metallica's debut album, Kill 'Em All, which, of course, outshunned this album in a way in terms of, historical points, because if Kill 'Em All wasn't released in 1983, this probably would have been considered the first thrash metal album. Even though I know fucking Sam Dunn considers Anvil as one of the first thrash metal bands, but I've never really looked at Anvil as a pure thrash metal band, because they really are not. Sure, they, again, along with Exciter, definitely one of the two, bands that really the precursors of thrash metal, even along with British metalers Raven. But here, it is pretty much is as close to like the the aggressiveness and real raw attack of Kill 'Em All. Tracks like to Stand Up and Fight, Heavy Metal Maniac, Under Attack, Cry of the Banshee. But of course you got other killer tracks such as Iron Dogs, which is got a real Sabbath feel in a way. It's just got a bit of a kind of a dirgy sort of doom type of sound. So it kind of also reminded me a bit of Pentagram, just in terms of its approach. It's slow, just groovy in a way as well, I guess. Just real killer track. And then Black Witch, Mistress of Evil. Just killer album. Now it's time to go to rock. Again, because of this is the album I just recently picked up, like yesterday. Santana 5. Now, I normally don't give Santana a whole lot of listens. I have heard some of his early stuff, especially the 70s. But what really kind of piqued my interest is the fact that Neil Sean and Greg Raleigh pretty much are back in the band on this album. And the first thing that comes to my mind is this is going to be close to that 70s sound. And to my extent, it's definitely back to that early. It's definitely the same lineup that recorded Santana 3. So this whole album is a pure harkens back to that 70s era. Definitely a lot of good guitar work as well. It's like Neil Sean he just rips it on the guitar on here. He really isn't missing a whole lot of beat. Him and Santana, it's like they're both taking turns in terms of guitar soloing and such. It's definitely not a bad disc. I was really surprised how good this is. It's not. I only, even from just one listen, I was really surprised. And it's a new album, so this is definitely going to make my list as one of the best albums of 2016. So, that pretty much does it for this edition of Currently Listening To. Now, of course, I will do the vinyl edition, which is definitely going to be a watched one. Since a whole lot of people are just talking about vinyl, and I've been mostly talking about a whole lot of CDs, so it will be a different sort of episode because I'll just be showing off nothing but vinyl. So, until then, if you have any comments on any of these albums, definitely go right ahead and post them in the comment section below. So until then, this is Heavy Thrasher saying I'm out, and I'll see you later.